In our news bulletin for this evening, Niue successfully hosted the Pacific Community Conference for the very first time in the organization's 68-year history. Pacific Island Forum Secretary General makes her first visit to Niue to coincide with the 9th Pacific Community Meeting. The Niue Building Division has issued a stern reminder to locals to ensure that building permits are obtained prior to any work for extensions to buildings. Niue has managed to successfully host the Pacific Community's largest meeting that concluded on Thursday last week. Since SPC was established in 1947, the organization has grown to working in 27 sectors, has more than 600 staff, and an annual budget of about $100 million. In its 68-year history, this is the first time that Niue has been given the opportunity to host, and has proven that even smaller member countries can deliver to expectation. This is all part of trying to remain connected to the countries that SPC serves. We spoke to the Director General of SPC before he departed the island on Friday.
What we call the core budget, the money we can rely on year in, year out, is only 25%. 1/4 of our total budget is core budget that we know we'll get every year. 3/4 of it we don't know. It's sort of uncertain, and under those circumstances it's very difficult to plan, very difficult to say to the countries, yes, we can do this for you, because we don't know whether the money is going to come or not. So the financial situation is a bit of a problem for us. And then of course the other thing relates to our efforts to try and attract, retain the best staff. We rely on being able to employ very good scientists, researchers, people like that. And because of the financial situation, it's a bit of a worry for me to be able to pay them and try to retain staff. They would be the main ones, but at a broader level, obviously climate change and disasters is the big one for the region. Non-communicable diseases, diabetes and heart disease in particular. So really finding the money to implement the plan is the big challenge for us. And obviously the other thing is the related issues like staffing, facilities in Fiji is a concern, where people work. Those kinds of things. It's just been absolutely fantastic to be able to bring the very first governing body meeting of SPC to Niue after 68 years of existence, and the fact that I am the Director General when that happens. Obviously, the other island members are now going to say, well, when's our turn, particularly the small ones that haven't had the chance to host a conference. I think it's really important for us as a member organization that we remain connected to the countries like Niue, and, because the cost is always a consideration. People say, you should have the meeting in Fiji, it's the cheapest place. That's true, but you're missing out on the connection and the engagement of the other members. So, assuming we're able to raise the money, we'll need to continue to do this as much as we can, I think. But from my point of view this time around, I'm just extremely pleased that things have gone really well. And I think that the skeptics who say, well, Niue can't put on a meeting like this, they're proven wrong. And I would hope that as a result of this experience, other organizations would look at Niue as it's a fantastic little place to be. There's no question about it. And now you have the facilities, accommodation, internet, transport. So I would hope that others would look at having their meetings here in Niue, assuming, of course, the Niue wants to do that. But it's just been extremely rewarding for me to come back and to be able to do this on our island.
Some of the major outcomes from the 9th Pacific Community Meeting included the approval of the 5-year strategic plan and priorities for 2016 to 2020, the approval of the budget for 2015 to 2017, as well as a high-level dialogue focused on youth, amongst other regional issues. Dr. Katuki Tonga said that Papua New Guinea have put forward their interest to host the next meeting in 2017, and New Caledonia have also expressed interest. The matter will be discussed further. Delegates and officials departed on Friday. The Secretary-General of the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat, Dame Meg Taylor, made her first visit to Niue last week as part of the 9th Pacific Community Conference. The Pacific Islands Forum is a political grouping of 16 independent and self-governing states that was founded in 1971 as the South Pacific Forum, before the name was changed in 2000. Dame Meg Taylor was appointed to the top job at PIFS in July last year. Her previous job was as a compliance advisor ombudsman for the World Bank Group, and she has also served as a lawyer and diplomat for Papua New Guinea in the past.
My role now is Secretary General of the Pacific Island Forum, which is the political organization for the Pacific region. You have the South Pacific Community, the technical and scientific organization, and Pacific Island Forum Secretariat serves the Pacific Island Forum, which is all the leaders of the Pacific. Being the first woman is a great honor. Is it difficult? People have not made it difficult. The leadership in the Pacific, ministers, and of course the people have been very supportive wherever I've gone and welcomed me to their community, and it's made it much easier. The work itself, of course, challenging. My past 15 years has been spent in a very big international organization, the World Bank Group. I worked as the head of accountability for the private sector side of the World Bank. That had its challenges, but working back in the Pacific, I think perhaps what I've found more challenging is that there's a greater complexity to the issues and how we deal with them than I envisaged. I just thought it would be a little bit more straightforward, but it's not.
Whilst on island, Dame Meg was also able to meet with group representatives from non-government organizations and civil society to get a perspective on what issues are for member countries, especially in relation to the Pacific regionalism framework.
The Forum Secretariat we have to do a much better job in getting coordination with what the community does. We provide policy advice to the leaders. We ensure that that policy is implemented in the countries and work with the countries to try and guide them to implement it. But the South Pacific community is doing a lot of the science and also the technical aspects of real implementation. In some ways I envy their work because it's tangible and people in the communities can see it, that, well, SBC came and did it. When you do policy, people will think, well, that's all airy-fairy stuff. But much of our work can complement. If there are areas that they're working in that the countries need good policy frameworks, policy advice, enabling environments, particularly around private sector development, etc., then we should be there working much more closely. And I think this time here in Niue helped me to really understand more what they do and strengthen the relationship with SPC, and so I thank Niue for that. Well, I just wanted to say to people here in Niue, I just thank you very much for your warmth and generosity, and Niue I think is the best kept secret in the Pacific, and if they don't mind, I'll just break the secret with my family and bring them back, bring them here. Thank you. And also, I just want to say I've met people who have related generations back to missionaries that went to Papua New Guinea and brought Christianity to our communities there. I just want to say thank you for being there with us.
Dame Meg Taylor departed the island on Friday and will be heading to COP21 in Paris, where Pacific Island leaders will also be meeting in a few weeks' time. Niue's Building Division has issued a stern reminder for people intending to conduct extension work to any buildings that they need to follow the necessary procedures. According to the building division, this is for safety, that construction meets building standards, especially in cyclonic conditions. New houses and renovations do not appear to be an issue, but what has become apparent and common practice has seen many extensions to buildings conducted without prior permission. This will apply to any extensions of new verandas or bathrooms. A building permit must be obtained first before work starts. Building staff will be conducting surveys of all villages to identify any work done without a permit, where people will be liable for a fine if they fail to report any extension to their homes. If uncertain, it is best to get in touch with the building division to avoid any potential fines. And that concludes our news bulletin for this evening. Just before we end our news bulletin, a reminder to those who frequent the airport that the last second weekly flight ended today.